Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.
Yes, it does, folks. What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite truck driver in the whole ex-truck driver in the whole wide world, Bitcoin Ben. Here, I just want to share a little image letting you know how I feel this morning. Let me pull this up real quick. There we go. Yes. An average human being is not able to understand the level of evil that we are dealing with. Abso-fucking-lutely. Guys and gals, just over the weekend, and what's crazy is this is just the weekend. Hang on, let me adjust this camera a little bit. This is just the weekend. All right, no. Let's go the whole week. All right, we've had a launch of whatever they're fucking called now, Claude bots. Now I think they're called Open Claw or something Claw, and that went great for about 3 days. Then someone's like, oh, let's give them a social media platform like Reddit. So then that blew up. Then here comes Epstein files. Oh, let's add that on to the fucking, hellhole we're going through right now. And now we have Epstein, and we got elected officials over in Europe dropping like flies. There's rumors of CEOs here in America who are quietly working their way out. We have let's kind of travel back in time a little bit, folks. 2017. I want to say it was on Halloween or a little after Halloween. And all of a sudden, there is this queue out there. I think it was on 8chan or 4chan. I think it was 4chan originally. And he or she or they are rolling out all of these very weird questions. And the questions were very elaborate on the elites. I mean, they had pictures. It was unbelievable. And I remember reading some of them, and I'm like, okay, well, what the hell is this? What is Q? And what is, I knew what anonymous was. I knew who that was. Now, mind you, I didn't know who they were. I knew the entity of anonymous. And what was crazy is all of the Q posts were like, all right, everything I'm going to say won't make sense now, but it will make sense in the future. And so like everyone was like, okay, this is some bullshit. This is some CIA. This is some blah, blah, blah. And the more I read up on what was going on, I started doing more research on elites and now, mind you, I had listened to Alex Jones and how all of the frogs were gay and all this other shit. And it was entertaining, and he had some evidence. And I'm like, well, that's odd. You know, why the fuck are the frogs gay? And then this year and some of last year, but mostly this year, and it's only February, what, 2nd? This is February 2nd. Holy fucking shit, people. What's it going to be like in like, hell, I won't even say 10 days, 5 days. What the fuck is going to happen in the next 5 days? We live, whoever chose this fucking timeline is absolutely just fucking with us now, because we're at a point where all of this is rolling out, and the elites over in Europe are shitting themselves over what Trump and the U.S. group said over at friggin' Davos. And everything's moving so quickly. Yeah, look at Bitcoin. Look at everything. Look at silver. I mean, there's good evidence that JP Morgan was short on silver. And so they used the derivatives market to short the silver so it would hit a price that they could handle the shorts. This is, and let's remember, JP Morgan was the ones who I think they got like a little bitty fine. No one got wait, no, one of the like little employees at JP Morgan, I think they got a little bit of jail time or something. It wasn't him. There's no way that little guy had that much access to that much capital. We're seeing the old system absolutely collapse, absolutely fucking collapse into a black hole of what they've created. But they didn't plan it this way. This is what's important to know. Hillary was supposed to win. That's the key to all of this. Hillary was supposed to win. And when she didn't, all hell broke loose. Russiagate, all these other lies, and all the CIA like going after Trump, the FBI fucking going after Trump, everyone going after Trump. And mind you, it isn't just Trump. Everyone's like, wow, I can't believe how much Trump has really changed everything. No. There's no way this is all fucking coincidence. There's no way that because, and I've said this in the past, we are going to go through a shit show today or this year. And the shit show is going to be blamed on AI. It's the one thing that can trigger something that everyone's like, oh my God, it's the agents. Because we're living in a world now that there are different worlds now. And I ain't talking like some cliff high woo-woo world shit. I mean, there is a physical world and there is a digital world. And in the digital world, now we have agents. We are creating the fucking matrix, folks. Somebody wake up all of the fucking people that are plugged in, the little eggshells or whatever the fuck they were. Someone wake up Neo, because we're going to need him and the Oracle pretty fucking quick. This is absolutely insane. But what's crazy, what's even crazy, we knew this was going to happen. Now, we didn't know the details. I mean, think back on as all this shit rolled out. We all kind of figured it's like, oh, okay, they're going to have a war. They're going to have some kind of war. Well, Ukraine fucking kicks off. And everyone's like, oh, there it is. And then we had Israel and Hamas and Gaza. We're like, oh, there it is. There it is. That's the shit right there. There's something else I want you guys, and I'm going to do a history show on this. I don't even know if I can do it on like a regular show. Fuck it, I'll try it. Elon Musk's great-grandfather. You have to understand, Elon is actually named after his great-great-grandfather. That was his great-great-grandfather's middle name was Elon. Yeah, I might just actually, I might actually do it on Rumble. That way I know YouTube ain't gonna fucking totally wreck me. Look up Elon Musk's great-grandfather. Originally, he was a chiropractor. Well, he was very active in politics, and he's from Minnesota. Well, he helped launch a group that explained how scientists and professionals and experts should run the world, and how we should create a technocracy, and how the world should be ran through robots and higher levels of technology. Now, mind you, this is back in the 1930s, 1940s, 1920s. It's wild shit and I can't really go into it on this show because YouTube will definitely fucking squash me. It's when you realize who Elon's great-grandfather is and who Trump's uncle was. All right, how many people watching right now have any family member that is really historically relevant with what's going on right now? I have some family members that were whiskey runners, they were gun runners. My uncles, actually my grandmother's brother was a gun runner in Granite City, Illinois. Uncle Bo. And he was into all kinds of shit. So was my grandfather who ran a church. He was a preacher at a church. My grandfather was a Pentecostal preacher. And for those of you who know anything about the Pentecostal church, fuck me, they're batshit. And I grew up in that. And my grandfather was a preacher on Sunday and everything else the rest of the week. An alcoholic, a womanizer, fucking, he was high level in the union over at Granite City Steel. It just a lot of that's but is he relevant now? Fuck no. Elon Musk's great grandfather was extremely relevant. He was part of a group that led into what Elon is actually doing now, right? And I mean, look at the reason Elon isn't in the Epstein files is because Elon knew the networks. Elon's grandfather was associated with the John Birch Society. If you know who that is, I might have to actually talk about that on the history show. This is when all hell breaks loose. And when I say all hell, what I mean is there are the elites, there are the managers, and then there are us. We have been manipulated this whole fucking time. I'm learning, and I'm doing more research on this. I'm learning the influx of immigrants into America was for labor. Australia was the prison colony. America was the labor colony. That's how the elites set it up. And that's why we had the Civil War, because the industrial revolution, right? The industrial revolution was wiping out. And let's remember, the industrial revolution, it really began over in England, over in the UK, and then worked its way over here. Because the reason the UK was getting rid of slavery wasn't because they were all holy moly motherfuckers who were like, slavery's wrong. No. They realized what they could build. They saw labor. How do you encourage slaves to advance technology quickly? They saw that through education, through teaching certain people how to read, that they could transition away from slavery and move into a labor economic system. All right, there's a movie, all right, called The Patriot, and it has Mel Gibson in it. And there's a segment in there, and if you guys have a little bit of time, look it up. There's a segment where one of the English higher-ups in the military was explaining to one of the generals on what they were rolling out, why they were having the Civil War. And all he said was, do you know what private property is? And the general looked at him and goes, and I don't have this word for word, but he basically says, yes, I understand what private property is. And he says, tell me about Pennsylvania. And what he was alluding to was private property was what they wanted to create. And I don't mean private property in the way that we knew it whenever there was common law, all right, prior to the Civil War. Private property, as we view it now, it's why we have property tax, because civil law is a system that makes the government the ultimate owner of the land. And the idea of private property was changed, where, and this is why you see in movies, early movies like The Birth of a Nation, where they explain franchise, where the general walks up to three black guys and says, sign up, boys, sign up for the military and get your piece of the franchise. Well, the franchise was 40 acres and a mule. That's kind of the franchise. Like, hey, you help us win this war, we will give you 40 acres and a mule. Well, what they didn't say is, well, we're kind of going to give it to you, but we're not really going to give it to you. We'll give you the mule, but we won't really give you the land. And the franchise was, the owners would be the government, and the franchisees would be the people. The Emancipation Proclamation, it didn't free us or free any black people. What it was it was a complete fucking bankruptcy of true private property. It was the elimination of common law contracts. And that's what they eliminated with the Emancipation Proclamation, was basically saying all of this slavery, indentured servants, contracts were null and void. Well, what granted the authority of the government to wipe out private contracts? The Emancipation Proclamation, which is just basically a proclamation from the government back then, from the president, was actually what we would call like an executive order. And we shifted into, and this was all actually based on realizing that and what they learned from the church. Let me explain. The church learned through the Gilded Age. I'm not going to explain what the Gilded Age was. It wasn't what people think it is. You didn't make a wage in the Gilded Age. You earned ironically enough, you basically earned a social credit score, and you were a member of blah 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 guild. Let's say the Masons. Let's say you were a high-ranking Mason. That was your currency. that's what gave you the ticket into the social areas of the world. And that's what gave you credibility. That's why all of the elites of the old days, they were all a member of a guild. George Washington was a member of a guild. It was called the Masons. All of them were members of a guild, because that's what the elites, that was their currency. And that they learned from that, hang on a second, we can use the guilds in order to, or the trades, let's just call it that to simplify it, we can use the trades to actually create a new world. And although the Revolutionary War was a revolution against Europe and England, it was really a revolution of elites against elites. George Washington was an elite. Benjamin Franklin was an elite. These, you and I, we're just the remnants of the serfs. We are the labor. We are the serfs. We are the land workers. We are the farmers. We are the producers that produce the products for the elites to organize. And please don't let any of these elites don't let them fucking fool you. They use astrology and astronomy. They know frequency. They know, they lived on it. They make choices based on alignment and dates and like certain times because of frequency. The alignment or the ease of resistance of alignment in the universal natural frequency. Some of us, or some of them, they called it magic, right? When really all it is harmonics. Let's use an example of a concert where everyone's kind of vibing to the same music, right? That's how the universe works. You can, here's a great example, right? You're at a Guns N' Roses concert and you're just rocking out to whatever heavy Guns N' Roses. Here, welcome to the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. We are all fun and games. And then the next song is fucking November Rain. So you're rocking out, you're banging out, pow, 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 welcome to the jungle. And then before you know it, the crowd's mellow. Yeah, November Rain. Oh, yeah. That is harmonizing the frequency of the crowd with the source. The source would be Guns N' Roses. It's the same thing with the universe, and the elites know it. When you want, and here's another great example for those of you who ever went to a heavy metal concert, the Pit. If you want, right, no one's going to have a pit during fucking November rain. All right, no one's going to be like, yeah, let's all fucking get violent. No. Now, welcome to the jungle, Rage Against the Machine. Abso-fucking-lutely. It naturally occurs. Because the frequency is at such a vibration that it reaches a point where running into each other and like beating the hell out of each other is just the physical representation of the frequency of the crowd. But no one's gonna do a pit in middle of friggin' Michael Jackson, actually like doing some love song or something. No one's gonna do that because the frequency isn't right. It would feel awkward because the frequency of the crowd wouldn't align with friggin' Michael Jackson doing Man in the Mirror and then having a bunch of crazy people in a crowd slamming into each other and getting violent. The Illuminati, the elites, the watchers, if you want to call them that, they know when to kick shit off. They know, oh, all right now we're in this frequency of, it's why we all feel weird. All right, here's another great example of frequency alignment. I could prove it real simple. You take 10 women, you put them in one house, their cycle will unify. That is frequency. It's their cycles will unify because of the frequencies of each of the women. This is what truly runs the world, folks. Why do you think? All right. Here's another example. Elvis Presley. All right. Yeah, I just fucking took a left. Oh, hang on 1 second. Word from our sponsor.
Ever wondered how safe your online activities really are? How secure is your digital footprint? In the vast realm of the internet, privacy and security are paramount. Without adequate protection, your personal data might be at risk. There are solutions to these issues, and today we're going to talk about two of them. Introducing Liberty laptops from CALIX Solutions. These cutting-edge devices are meticulously designed to bolster online privacy, providing you the liberty to surf the internet incognito. The World Wide Web can be a wild frontier, but with Liberty laptops, your online privacy is always protected. We also present you crypto laptops, designed with cryptocurrency users in mind. Equipped to support a myriad of wallets and exchanges, these laptops are tailored for seamless cryptocurrency transactions. They offer enhanced security protocols to keep your digital assets safe. Crypto laptops ensures a secure and smooth cryptocurrency experience. It's time to take control of your online privacy and security. Venture over to CALIX Solutions and explore our Liberty laptops and crypto laptops. Don't forget, our affiliate program lets you earn $50 per sale. Visit calixsolutions.io now or call 7028458276 for more information, because your online safety is our priority.
Yes, it is. Hey guys and gals, you see all these Claude bots and shit like that? Well, remember when we launched CALIX Solutions and we said you'll have software on your laptop that will make you money? At the time, I actually called them micronodes, because that's what they were explaining at MIT was, and that evolved into agents, and now we got fucking Claude bots. That's what I was talking about. That's what the people at MIT were explaining, where you'll have a local bot on your laptop that will go out and make you money. You'll have employees on your laptop. That's what I was explaining, except back then I called them micro nodes, because that's what people at MIT were actually calling them. This is what's rolling out. And guys and gals, remember, Elon Musk is rolling out 1 million. He just, I think it was in October or November, he shut down one of his rocket plants that were building rockets. Now they're making robots. As of like January 6th, they're making robots. They're making robots in mass. He's shooting to have 1 million of them done this year. We are, and I've said this in the past, we are creating ourselves. And Jim Flanagan, my boy in Texas, nails it. The invention of the plane, the phone, the light bulb, many were doing it at the same time without really knowing each other were doing it too. We are a hive mind, but we actually call it our subconscious. We're a hive mind that has a frontal lobe. This is our hard drive, right? Our subconscious is our hard drive. Our frontal lobe is our RAM. And this is what we are recreating. And this is what the elites knew. The elites knew all they had to do was propagandize us, and we would create the future that they wanted. They realized, look, let's create this shit called fiat money in 1913. Let's launch this shit. Because remember, guys, reconstruction of the United States governmental structure happened from 1865 till about 1880. And then from 1880 to about 1910 is when they were organizing the corporate structures. Because remember Teddy Roosevelt? Ooh, it's like, I'm a trust buster. I'm going to kick the shit out of the trust. Fuck them. You talk softly and you carry a big stick. That was for the trusts. Well, once they got rid of the trust, which were based on common law, they rolled the trust into corporations under civic law. And once they were corporatized, that's when they launched the Federal Reserve. And that's when they knew they had the mechanisms to organize labor. And that's when unions and 8-hour work days and shift work and Henry Ford was like, all right, how do we make labor more efficient? Blah, 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 blah. All this shit. This was all organized for an employee-based economy, because an employee is just a franchisee who owns their labor, owns their time. So your corporation sends you a paycheck. Well, they had to have a mechanism that they could pay. That's why they created the dollar. That's why they created the Federal Reserve, because then they can organize the industries in alignment with the way that they wanted the world and America to go. And they could use taxation, and in 1929 was the little people getting too rich, where they could no longer leverage them with labor. Remember, this all revolves around labor. That's it. They have to be if you are too rich, you won't work overtime. If you're too rich, if you're comfortable, they have no labor leverage on you. They need to keep you just on the edge. They like you paycheck to paycheck, because they know if you're reliant on that next paycheck, your ass is going to show up at work. And then here comes propaganda. Everything is propaganda. Everything has been propaganda. They have chosen the books to be published that align with the propaganda. And this is a wide swath. As long as, why do you think the Germans, right? Why do you think Hitler was burning books? Why do you think America was burning books? Don't think they fucking didn't do it. They did, because the books that they were burning were the books that were explaining the old ways of frequency and the Gilded Age, and what really happened in the Gilded Age. This is all one rollout leading to this point, and the rest of it I'll eventually talk on a history channel or a history show, because you have to understand what brought us here in order to really get your mind around where the fuck we're even at. We're at the point where human labor and human intelligence is slowly going to be obsolete. We will be the chink in the armor. We will be the dumbest person in the room. A lot of these elites are going to upgrade their mind. Let me run this by. Do you really think that Elon Musk is creating technology that hooks directly into the human brain so motherfuckers can play video games? So he can help the paralyzed and the quadriplegic fucking play World of Warcraft? No. He's learning the integration into the human mind. He's creating the Neo, shove it in the back of your head, however long that thing was, that went into your brain. It's just right now it's on the outside and it looks a little clunky. Why? Why are they doing that? Why is Elon Musk probably isn't a bad guy, probably really gives a shit about people, at least from what I sense. Well, let me rephrase that. Elon Musk gives a shit about society. not really individuals. They're creating your USB port. And as soon as they figure out the science of the USB port, then they'll figure out the science of Wi-Fi right into your brain. Because that's what it really is. See, everyone's looking at what Elon's rolling out, and they're like, that's amazing that that person can play a video game using his mind. Guys, that's the least interesting thing to Elon. What Elon's learning from this mechanism is the human brain language. Because it's neurons, it's electrons, it's energy in a frequency that we translate into knowledge or communication or thought. As soon as we have a language of the human brain, we no longer need to plug in. They can broadcast it using 5G. There's a lot of people who are right on 5G. Your brain operates in that spectrum. A lot of your physical movements and organizations and organs, they vibe on 5G. And this is where we're at, folks. And the reason I'm saying all of this is so you're prepared for what's coming. Now, the majority of the people will have no fucking clue what's going on. They are going to be worried about money and status and all this other bullshit. And do I have a house? Do I have a car? Do I have the latest Tesla? This whole thing's going to fucking blow past them, and they're not even going to know it. Just like the Civil War. A lot of people had no idea the Civil War was even fucking going on. This revolution, the majority of people, I'd say probably at least 70% of at least the American people are going to wake up in the middle of the revolution and go, what's going on? A lot of them are waking up now. Now, I wouldn't say a lot. I'd say a few. The sooner you realize where this is all going, guys, and I'll even say this about Bitcoin, by 2045, maybe 2050, if that, no one who's left, and I mean that fucking literally, no one who's left will ever have to worry about money. Ever. This is Charles Darwin. See, the elites, they don't hate every single one of us. They hate the collective because they know probably 70 to 80% are just absolutely mindless fucktards. But they value the other 20% because they understand a cumulative human imagination and invention. That's why every single one of us, our whole life in school, if you got a certain grade, ooh, we're going to put you in the REACH program. Or you're really smart, we're going to put you in this program. That was them separating you from the herd. They're like, ooh, we got a smart cow. We got us a smart cow. Let's see if we can shape them into an intelligent cow. That's what this is all for. This is what all of America, the whole progressive system, was to weed out the performers from the herd. The herd, let them work at the factories. Let's give them some welfare. They're fucking eventually die anyway with a couple of shots or a few viruses we send out. They aren't worried about the herd. They're worried about the 20%. And they don't know who that is. They don't know who that full 20% is. So they're basically leaving the milk out on the counter. Whatever rises to the top is the cream. Everything else can fuck off. That's how they set up society. So if you achieve, no matter what mechanism, that's what's fucking nuts. That's why a lot of the elites are fucking psychopaths, because your method of success is not important. It's whether or not you can achieve. Once they recognize you for who you are, then they'll use you in their little system. That's what Epstein was. Epstein was a figure out who's useful and then place them in the areas that will be most useful to our overall mechanism, global order. And that's the structure of it. And Elon is an elite. Elon is just on the other side of the elites. You have, and I'll use right and left, but this is not accurate. It's very fluid. Elon is, let's not kind of kill everybody. We're already losing population naturally. Let's not just wipe them out. Let's let them wipe themselves out through not having children. Where the other side, seeing how quickly this all is advancing, they're like, no, we need to wipe these motherfuckers out now, because they're just going to eat up our resource. Remember, their resource is electricity. That's what AI. All right, when you hear an elite actually talk about a data center and AI, and man, AI, the electric prices are really jumping up high for the normal people. That's not them giving a shit about the normal people. That's them giving a shit that the normal people are using up their power. Because that's how they view it. That's their electricity. Why the fuck are we letting all these humans use our electricity? That's how they view it. Now, Trump and Elon and some of the other elites, they have empathy. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they just see a larger amount of humans as kind of a necessity temporarily. I don't know how they really feel about us. All I do know is they got no problem wiping us out in order to achieve an agenda. What is war? Look at World War I, World War II. They sacrificed us to align their agenda. They basically said, we will kill as many of our people as we need to in order to achieve our agenda. That's what war is. Trust me, in World War II, there wasn't some young man, 18 years old, working on a farm somewhere who had a grudge against Germany. No. It was, oh, look, they hit Pearl Harbor. Brr. They have attacked us. We must fight. It was a fucking marketing campaign. It was a 9/11. It was a, all right, guys, we got to shake up the snow globe. We got to get, 9/11 was the equivalent of on 9/10, we were listening to November Rain. We were just sitting there going, oh, look, it's September 10th, 2001. Such a beautiful day. And then the elites are like, okay, let's crank up some Welcome to the Jungle. September 11th. Riles up everyone. George Bush walks out with his flag, on top of the rubble that wasn't even really rubble. I mean, let's be honest, that shit turned to dust. And with a huge flag and all of the emergency people who were left. And he was like, whoever did this is going to pay for it. And somehow that leads to us going into Iraq. Huh? What? The fuck are we doing here? Wait, Iraq is the enemy of Al-Qaeda. Wait, if Iraq is the enemy of Al-Qaeda and we created Al-Qaeda in the 1970s, are they just another branch of the military? Oh, dare I say. And then September 11th, 2001, at about 9 o'clock in the morning, they switched on Welcome to the Jungle. And they riled us up and ensued the mosh pit. And every economic collapse, every great economic reset or whatever the fuck they call it was manufactured. Everything has been manufactured. It's what's going on right now. This is all manufactured. We are being played, guys. But in this new system, because the new system is coming, no matter what you think, no matter what illusion you have that we may magically return to like 1985 when we were fucking growing up and we all had big hair and fucking Walkmans hanging out at the mall. That shit's gone. Let it go, because it ain't coming back, right? where we're going to is relatively going to be a good place, relatively. And when I say good place, in about 10 or 15 years, the world is actually going to be a pretty neat place. But getting there is going to be a bitch. They're rolling out AI. They're rolling out the data centers. They're rolling out everything. We, me, us, we're trying to lean it towards some semblance of freedom. We're at war with the idea of collective control. That's what we're at war with. That's why we are trying to decentralize everything. That's why we're in Bitcoin. That's why we're in, and I don't care what coin, Ethereum or whatever, I don't care. This system is going to be centralized or it's going to be decentralized. We have to work towards keeping it decentralized. That's going to be the war from here on out. You're going to see AI shows, AI this, AI that, movies, propaganda, videos, all that. They're going to flood us with a bunch of information, real or false. It doesn't matter. They're going to throw out everything because they're going to flood the zone. And what is the zone? The zone is your perception, the general population's perception. And they're using we're all in school. All right, I know I've been going long, guys. Let me explain. When you and I were young, we took tests that would show them if we were really intelligent, if we leaned more where we'd be good at computers, or did we lean more where we would be good at woodworking, or that system of segregation has actually been replaced by algorithms. We call them our feeds. The algorithm recognizes what you're interested in. It recognizes where you put your energy, and then it uses a system to algorithmically navigate you into the area of the matrix that you will be useful. And when you think about what I just said, it makes complete sense. Because then you have, and someone asked me over here, what do you think of, where was it? Yes. What do you think about the architect AI? If you haven't looked into that, look into it. That's what I'm talking about. The architect is the overlaying AI that will shift us and segregate us into the area in which they want us to be. They don't need teachers anymore. Teachers were just trained human algorithms. It's why they taught you out of a book. It's why they had education plans, and because they were weeding out those who smoked in the bathroom and fucking, hey, this kid ain't gonna be shit. He's basically a fucking loser. All right, which ones are doing good? All these here. Let's make them the honor students. Oh, great job. That means, all right, well, though that's what the teachers would do. They'd shift out. That's what your grades were. Your grades were, you got an A in math, but you got a C in history. Okay? Let's encourage them into the math. It's why no matter how hard you worked, it was very hard for a lot of people to have like straight A's. Highly intelligent and highly trainable people received straight A's. And those were the very intelligent and very willing and very good at working inside the schooling system. That's not a knock on them. They learned the system and then went, oh, this is how you succeed. I got this shit. Boom. Those who weren't very good at it or didn't learn the system, they're like, okay, well, we need ditch diggers. That's all digitally being replaced. And our new educators, our new teachers, we hold them in our phones. And we choose which things we are interested in. And then the algorithm kind of nudges you into the area of the system that you will be most useful, for good or bad. And that's where we're at, folks. And this is going to be a crazy, I almost went into Ozzy Osbourne. Crazy night. It's going to be amazing. But it's going to be fucking weird, especially for people our age. The younger generation, they're going to roll right into this new system relatively easy. My generation, a little bit harder. Older than me, you guys are fucked because you don't even relate to any of this shit. We are absolutely in a war for our souls. Absolutely. And get ready for one hell of a battle. But this is a necessary battle. This is what we've wanted. Like, we want people arrested. We want the Epstein files. We want this. We're getting what we wanted. We're getting what we wanted. And all hell's about to break loose. But, hey, you chose this life. So did I. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. All right, everyone, have a great friggin' day. And I love you guys. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure, guys, the Bitcoin's down. The Bitcoin is down. Reach out to us at the clubs and give us a call and say, help me get some no KYC Bitcoin now. 941-413-8080, and just call, or you can text and say, how can you get me some Bitcoin? And we will get it for you. All right, guys. Love you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.